Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back from us at Top Tier Talk. Happy New Year from all of us here, and we are welcomed with the rise of Chelsea winning both their games over the Christmas period. United winning against Villa at home, and then unfortunately losing away. And then us, we're playing at the moment against Fulham 1-1, and we also lost 2-0 against West Ham. But we'll start with Chelsea, as they are the happiest at the moment, so Amir, take it away.
I think it's the first time in 2023 I've been happy on this podcast, but we've won two games in a row. We beat Palace 2-1. Good game. Madueke coming on, making a difference, winning the pen and scoring the pen. And Mudryk with a good finish as well. I'm surprised Mudryk didn't start against Luton, which we can go straight into, which was squeaky bum time. I think if there was 5-10 minutes added on, Luton would have scored a third and we would have been absolutely clown. But shout out to Cold Palmer, two goals, taking them
Old
very
Palmer.
well. And Madueke, what a finish as well. He's a bit of an impact player. He's come in recently and he's got the same number of goals as Martani, who's played like 10 times the number of games he has. Sorry, I had to bring that up. But yeah, less pressure on Poch, I think, for a little bit, but still majority Poch out.
Are you Poch out? You're not Poch out, are you? No.
Nah, there's no one better. I'm still not Poch out, especially after winning two games. I mean, the defending's got a big issue. Conceding two against Luton, we should have saw that game out and got
Yeah.
the clean sheet. You can see Thiago Silva's face. He was like, what the fuck's going on at full time?
To be fair, Luton are quite like a bookie kind of away game, aren't they? Because they've managed to score a lot of goals against like some of the top six teams. They scored three against us, they scored two against you, and they managed to, was it draw against Liverpool as well? So they've done
The
fair
hard place
fair
to
well.
go, I think, is definitely a very hard place. I think
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a bit, it's
not
a
that
half
likely,
decent
is it?
atmosphere there.
Yeah,
They feel
definitely.
like they
But
have something to obviously to go for, so why not? Fair play to them. But Chelsea finally getting two wins on the trot, probably first time in months.
yeah,
Um,
and an
excited for
away win.
2024 then? Are you hoping for that top six
I'm
charge, top
I'm
four
hoping,
charge?
yeah. Lucky. I'd take a top eight. I
Top
think
eight?
maybe I'm just gonna be a bit more. Obviously, I want top four, but there's very unlikely. There's so much more better teams than us. The likes of Villa, even like getting up there. I think the top six to top eight would be okay. If we get into Europe, it's good. I think that's a positive season, but we'll
I was
see.
gonna I was gonna ask about Conor Gallagher and that news that came through that potentially you might sell him even to Tottenham. What do you think of that, considering you put
If the
Conor Gallagher
ownership
as your player of the year, didn't you?
I know. If
2023,
the
yeah.
ownership sell Conor Gallagher, I have no hope for them at all. I think it'll be the worst decision made. And it's only because they're trying to raise funds for FFP, because obviously he's a homegrown player and he didn't cost us anything. It just helps the books. And if that's the reason, it's absolutely terrible. It's the same with Ian Mattison. They're trying to offload
Mm.
him if Dortmund are interested. But I think that's absolutely disgraceful because he has been our best player. I know he's not as flashy as Enzo or Caicedo, but he's a workhorse and he plays for the badge and he understands Chelsea as well. Shout out to Alfie Gilchrist as well. I'm not sure if
Mm.
you guys saw that.
Yeah, right at the end.
The under 23 guy just came on a proper passion merchant trying to go for anything, just like a
Love
young
that.
John Terry. So we need more players like that who get Chelsea. And yeah,
Mm.
it'd be disgraceful.
Good
Um,
stuff. No.
I know you won. What went wrong in the last 10 minutes against Luton? What is it that you need to improve so you can
We
see out a
can't
game?
defend crosses. I
Mm.
say every time against Wolves, it's the crosses. We can't defend them at all. It's a big issue and something that we need to focus on because I think aerially we're okay. We've got some height in there, but that Adebayo, see how many headers he won? He probably should have got a hat trick that game, hitting the
Mm.
crossbar so many
Mm,
times and stuff. Every ball they're whipping, I think they whipped in like 30 plus crosses in the end. So yeah, definitely big issue.
fair enough.
Mm.
Up on
Yeah.
the rise for Chelsea then, looking forward to the new year. Chavez, unlike, I think you're the complete opposite.
Mm.
Obviously, you had a nice result against Villa, but then you just lost yesterday. So talk us through it. What's happened?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that sums up consistency and the lack of it that we have, I can relate it to this podcast. We've done so many episodes where United have played twice, and I have had to talk about two games. Has there ever been a time where it's been two wins and I can be
Okay.
happy? It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. It hasn't happened this season. So this time around, the Villa game, we got some false hope in the second half. False, I say, because the first half of the Forest game, we followed our best half of the season with our worst half of the season. So you can't tell. And I have to say we are a bit cursed because Hoyland just got his first goal, his miracle goal. Shout out to Sean Mills. But he then got ill. He got ill and he didn't play. He couldn't play in the next game. So we're quite cursed in that sense. The Villa game was brilliant. Ten Hag throughout the week, well, the days after that game, talked a lot about the tactics that led to that win, and it was very interesting because it's funny that he knows this the whole time because he hasn't shown that when we played the whole, pressing fullbacks, all of that. Very interesting. I think we just decided to do our own thing rather than overthink it. I think he's overthinking it a bit because of our injuries. And in that second half, he just said, let's just do what we do best, fullbacks press, and let's just go at them. And we did, and we won. And we completely outplayed them, by the way. Villa are not a bad team. And I was criticizing Emery quite a bit during that game because Ange gives me the same vibe where Villa played a very high line and Tottenham did the same thing and they went 2-0 up and they did not change. They just kept doing that. And we missed about 3 chances before we actually made it 2-1. We even scored a goal that was offside and Emery still decided not to change that.
Was
I
it
mean,
like or just like they're stubborn managers? What do you think?
yeah, I mean, he had Pau Torres on the bench, a brilliant defender. He could have done something. He could have just told them to sit back a bit because one thing we all know is Man United can't score against the low block, anyways. But he really did play into our hands with how he set up. So that was strange. And he was very what's it called? I've been picking him up, but he was very I don't know, defensive in his interview afterwards. I don't know if you saw, but
Yeah, where we are in the league and stuff
yeah,
like.
that wasn't even the question. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what he was thinking, but aside from that, we won that great. Then you go on to the next game. By the way, Garnacho was brilliant in that game. One thing I love about Garnacho, I think they call him, he's got like a fish syndrome where he just forgets what the previous thing that happened. So he could give the ball away 7 times, but he'll run at that defender again. And it works because, we need someone to run at defenders and he's explosive. It's really good. Doku's like that as well, but obviously Doku's more skillful. Going on to the next game, Forest, Hoyland got ill. Ahmad Diallo came on the bench, which was great to see. The first half was absurd. Like it was, I thought Forest was. Like, I always say this when we lose, but Forest could have done more. They just kind of sat back as well. So it was probably one of the worst halves I've ever seen in general of football in my life. I mean, you could probably look at the XG of both teams did not accumulate to more than like 0.15 maybe, which is terrible. Like what even happened? Nothing happened. Then the second half came and that was much better. Forest came at us. They proper tried to run us ragged. The home crowd was brilliant. Probably the best home crowd I've seen in a long time. They were singing throughout. I think they just love Nuno. For some reason, they have some mad love for Nuno. I know he's their new manager, but I don't know if he has an affiliation to Forest from before. They were singing his name throughout. On our part, we were poor. Everything went wrong. The starting of the whole wrong situation was Ten Hag. He made a mistake. He brought off Mainu. I know he said that Mainu has played like quite a lot, and I know they're managing him very well. He doesn't always play, but I have to say, like he could have brought anyone else on, but he brought on McTominay, who's, as I said, the most outformed player in our team. And I don't mind. Like, I could have been anyone, a defender. I don't care. Change the formation, but McTominay is a disease. I get upset now when he scores because when he scores, it means it prolongs his stay in the team and means we play worse football throughout. But he's good at scoring goals. It's actually it's a vicious cycle. McTominay scoring goals. It's very negative for our club, sadly.
I do want to go because obviously against Chelsea it was because I don't watch too much United. It's dominant. Should have scored more goals. Gets in the box and for Scotland as well. What is it for United? Is he not show for the ball? What is it that
he's got more defensive responsibility for us? He's not allowed. We have Bruno Fernandes. Scotland don't. He has to play further back. And the 2 goals that we conceded, by the way, the exact same goal we've conceded about 15 times a season is a cutback on a counter. And it's unfortunately McTominay has to be there as much as it doesn't look like he does because he's so far away and he's so obsessed with being in the other box. He has to be there. Mainu in the first half was there. He did stop a few of these cutbacks, but we always concede these cutbacks. And as we know, Eriksen is not good off the ball. He's not going to be there. It's got to be McTominay. So it was his fault, unfortunately. And I know it's not completely on him as well. He knows probably that that's his issue, but Ten Hag selected him, so that's on him as well. Ahmad came on. He was brilliant, by the way. Anthony,
you don't want to speak about Anthony.
Anthony is the worst player in the Man United squad, I think, as of this current moment, and McTominay plays for us. I still can't believe it. You know, if Anthony came on a free, I would still be so heartbroken that someone like him plays for our club. He is terrible. He can't take a man on. This 100 million that I think it was Van der Sar, he took it off of us when he was there, DOF for Ajax. It's unbelievable, unbelievable business.
Because I think you were getting warnings about him being like 65 mil from your like a board of advisors or something like that, and then you went, "How about this? We'll stick 100 mil on him," and everyone's like, "Okay."
Just desperation. Yeah, he's terrible. I think there is not a worse right winger in the Premier League. And some
Anthony is not just a button here. Like we remember from Ajax ages ago, Ziyech. Do you remember when Ziyech was there?
Yeah,
well, he was definitely far more better player than Anthony, and he only cost us around 45 million in the end. The fact that you paid over double that plus a little bit more for Anthony, and we didn't even see much of him. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing you brought Ziyech up because I can give you the best case example now. The best case scenario for Anthony from this point is I know Gary Neville compared him to Mahrez, and that's terrible, very disrespectful to Mahrez. But I understand where he's coming from in the sense that he's not explosive. Anthony's not going to explode past a defender. He's got to use his abilities to his advantage. Like Mahrez was not an explosive winger, but he was still brilliant. Like, he kept the ball really well. He just played to his ability. And Anthony needs to somehow find that. Someone needs to coach him. Someone needs to tell him, because he's a very poor footballer and he affects the whole right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka, who never puts in a bad game, had a really bad game because of him. It's just impossible to play with him because he's terrible. So yeah, it was just a poor game all around. Johnny Evans was okay. That's one side note. He's actually not put in a really bad performance since the Arsenal game now. When he first came in, when Johnny Evans first came in and Arsenal beat us right at the end, that was like this little cameo that cost us. Since then, he's been faultless. And yeah, we have Wigan.
It seems you've got a few diseases in that team though, because I know you mentioned it in like your player ratings. Sometimes you've got like the likes of Ericsson that puts in like bang average performances, McTominay bang average, and then Anthony bang averages. And then like, don't get me wrong, Rashford scored great, but like for example, like these players, as you say, like diseases, they spread to the rest of the team. And obviously, even if you take them out and put, as you say, Diallo in, Mainu
Yeah.
in, and everything like that, that's fantastic. But then what? Like, do you move on from there and then like play them because? Like, as
And
you
over
say, you still
time,
got to
they
fill.
become diseases as well because the other diseases are spreading.
Exactly.
It's a shame that Rashford is Manchester born and bred, as the chant goes, because if he wasn't, he would not be at this club. He gets a free pass for everything. My issue with Rashford isn't even like what he does on the pitch. It's more his attitude on the pitch. When he gives the ball away, when he just looks, it's like watching a world-class superstar when he's just walking about. He really does. I think he thinks he's better than everyone when he's on the pitch. Again, this is a complete opinion. It's not a fact, but it's the aura he gives. It's so terrible. Like he's not like that. He's not that person. He's not done enough. And yeah, I mean, he's 26, 27 now. He should be doing what Salah does, or what Saka, for example, is doing. I mean, Saka's younger. These players are younger than him, and they've progressed better. So yeah, Martial, by the way, I think he's played his last game in a Man United show. Ten Hag keeps saying he's ill for the last 3 weeks. No one has this type of illness unless it's like, I don't even know what he could have. I hope he's doing okay if he has it, but I don't know. I don't think he does. He's going to be sold in January or put out on loan or something. That's a shame. But yeah, it's good to get all these attitudes out. Jadon Sancho needs to leave immediately. I can't believe he sits
Where is
there and
he?
watches. I mean,
Just hasn't said sorry.
no, he hasn't said sorry. And I have to say, if at work, all of us, we have jobs. If we worked and we had a situation in which we had to say sorry to our boss and we didn't, and this was that bad a conflict, we'd be fired, wouldn't we? We'd leave. It wouldn't
Yeah,
work out. I mean, Sancho gets his salary still. It's so depressing. Sancho still gets 350,000 a week,
What is
and he
it, though?
watches. It's terrible.
With Sancho as well, at the end of the day, he's like harming his own career at this point now. Like he hasn't played football in like 6 months now, isn't it? Or something like that. He's doing it to himself. So it's like you can see from his attitude, he doesn't care. He just wants the
Yeah,
money
I
and
mean,
all that stuff.
even also in general life, when your boss says something, your boss might be wrong. But when it comes to the work you're in, they're your boss for a reason. They're higher than you. You're just going to have to firm it. We all complain. Everyone complains about their boss. We've all done it. Everyone in the world's done it. So Sancho can go and do that. But the fact that he's come out and just not played, he's so lucky. I have to say he's so lucky that he gets
The
this
player
level of
power,
salary.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Quite sad.
and that type of attitude as a human being, forget about football, as a human being, I would never associate myself with someone like that. And the day he goes, I'll be a very happy man. And I think a lot of Man United fans will be. It's very sad that people defend him, by the way. I think one thing, people who defend Sancho, and they still do on Twitter, it actually is very telling of you
What
as
are
a
they
human being.
defending? What is their argument?
They say that Ten Hag must have done something so bad that warranted this reaction. But I have to say, I'm not even sure what Ten Hag could have done that could then warrant this. Like, it could have been quite bad, but I still don't think a player should be doing this. So, yeah.
Just takes me back to a video that we did back in the day. I think it was maybe like a year ago when we said it was Saka or Sancho. And you happily picked Sancho. Oh, back in the day.
Yeah. I'm sure I did because he was a good prospect, but yeah, his career's destroyed because he couldn't say one word to one man.
I mean, look at Madueke. Do you remember we said this about Madueke last week? And look,
Brilliant.
come back now. So
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully, obviously, well, not hopefully, because as a rival fan, I still hope this like drought continues. But hopefully, for your sake,
Yeah.
something can actually
we're
happen. And
trying, man.
maybe you'll probably win and then lose and win and lose and win and lose. It's like up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But you never know. If you win 2 games on the trot, I think you'll be the happiest man alive, running on cloud 9.
Yeah,
But we'll have to
we
see
are,
anyway.
we tend to overhype, by the way. We get so optimized. After that Villa game, it really did feel like we were on for a title charge, and that's a testament to this fan base. We're so optimistic, which is hats off to
That's
us.
what you want to be, though. That's I think every fan base wants to be like that.
Don't look at it as a bad thing. I mean, it's deluded. There's a fine line between delusion and optimism, and we're really crossing that. But it's what it is.
Add a bit more salt in the wound as well, Chavez. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is the highest scoring player this calendar as well in 2023. So
yeah, normally I'd make the argument that those are Saudi Arabian goals, but the fact that he's even top with those goals at his age is incredible. So nothing against him. Yeah, it really worked out. He's a mentality monster. His mind will never be replaced when it comes to resilience in football.
That's it. Fair enough. Right, on to myself then for the 2-0 loss against West Ham and then currently 1-1 against Fulham while it's on in the background. 2-0 against West Ham. Do you know what? I've seen this for the past month, maybe like a few couple games before that as well. We're playing the same football that I think obviously Arteta's grasped around kind of like possession football, which is great. It's fantastic, but obviously I think teams are slowly starting to find out our way of football and they're kind of letting us have that possession kind of football until we make a mistake, which is quite frequent at the moment and it's quite annoying because at the moment what we're doing is passing it out to the left, we'll have a quick rundown, we'll come back, play into the middle, he'll play it back to Gabriel, Gabriel plays Saliba. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually, for some reason, someone will try a risky pass, for example, Ben White to Odegaard. Odegaard will think he has more time than he does, turns, loses the ball, they're on the counter attack. And most of the time, when they're on the counter attack, it does us badly because for some reason, for the past couple of weeks, we haven't been able to defend properly. We've gotten away with a few results, but West Ham we got found out, and as I say, we deserve to lose. Stuff like that. If you're playing that sort of football against a team that when you go and try and attack against them and you're playing side to side, and they're literally sitting everyone behind their halfway line, it's not much you can do. You have to play Route 1 football, where not necessarily all the time play it over the top, but try it, because then they're like, oh crap, like something different's happened. How do we defend this? They have to go back.
Is there been a goal?
Yeah.
Fulham scored.
Yeah.
Fulham scored.
Yeah.
It happened. Oh, who scored now? Give us the update.
Speaking of which, though, literally the exact same thing has happened this game. I was about to bring it on to about the Fulham game. This stupid football that we're just playing side to side, we're turning into robotic football. Let's see the goal here. It's a corner.
This is great.
Deflection,
Bobby Reid, I think.
deflection again.
Reid.
Yeah, Reid.
Nice.
2 deflections straight to his feet, and he
The
scored.
silence I know weren't good.
I mean,
Oh.
stuff like but the thing is as well is that like as I say, I've just mentioned it as well. For the past couple month and so, and a couple games before that, we haven't been able to defend properly. We've been past it side to side. That's great. We've been playing that inverted fullback with Zinchenko, and now Kivior is playing that inverted fullback. He's not an inverted fullback. It doesn't work.
I don't think it worked because I think he got subbed off. Unless he's got injured, he got subbed off. I think for Tommy.
Yeah, but this is that's what I'm saying is most teams are finding out our way of football now, and it's literally as you can see here, we're losing against fucking Fulham. We lost against West Ham last week. They're finding our pattern of play and they're going against it, and it's working because we can't fucking defend against it. And then obviously when we try and go against them and try and go on the attack, for example, it's just same bollocks where they know how to do. They put three like players on either left or the right. So if Martinelli's going down the wing, they'll have their centre half come in with their fullback, and one of the midfielders coming like just kind of crush him in. So he has to play it back, and then when he plays it back, they can obviously return back to their same like pyramid formation that's just behind us, like centre line.
Oh, you make a great point. I did. I'm not going to claim this is mine, but I was watching a football podcast and they said this since Havertz has come in and he's been pushed in, it's made everyone else worse. So like, there's no overlap.
I'll be honest, I've watched this game.
No, Havertz has been good, but
yeah, he's on form.
The team. So it's like the fullbacks aren't pushing up anymore. Ben White's not doing his overlap. Odegaard's a bit more deeper now. Like, do you see him against West Ham? He was your best player.
Yeah.
He was allowed to go further forward. The wingers aren't doing as great.
Yeah.
You think potentially that could be it, or do you think it's just the person that you just, as you said, you've been found out?
I think we've been found out. I think surely one person in that entire team can't make a difference to an entire like rest of the fucking tent. Surely, like you think that we'd actually grow a brain and everything like that, and think right, the teams are finding us out. Let's try a different tactic now because it's not fucking working. Amir, when you brought up those stats about Madueke obviously equaling Martinelli's goals and he's barely played. For example, our top scorer, I think this season is Kai Havertz. You know, it's quite worrying to the point. But then again, watching these sort of games as well, when you're watching the likes of West Ham when we lose to them and when we're losing to Fulham right now, I'm watching it, yeah. It's fantastic. If, let's say, for example, our main problem is our number 9. We need someone who's in that box left, right, and centre. That's fantastic. They'll be able to get on the end of it and try and score. The amount of delivery that Nketiah has got this game has been near to fucking none. Saka's been trying to cut in every time and barely puts in the ball. And when he does, it flies over the top and for a goal kick. Martinelli barely crosses it in as well. And as the same goes again, he puts in maybe 1 or 2 good crosses. For example, the first goal we got was a very lucky goal. It just deflected and went straight to Saka's feet and he popped it in. But as I say, a number 9, great. We'll have like an Ivan Toney or an Oshiman. If we got someone like that, fantastic. It'll be great. Like as you say, it might solve a good problem. But it's like the likes, for example, your problem, Chavez, Hoyland. He'll be making these forward runs. He'll be in the box ready to receive it, but nothing's going to him. So it's all well and good having this like attacking minded number 9, but if he's not getting anything, everyone's going to call him useless.
I would argue though that Jesus did have quite a few chances against West Ham. Maybe that
This is
Tony
it,
or
though. This is it. Is that
enough. It
I was
wouldn't.
about to get onto that, like, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is the attitude at the moment, but we just can't finish. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened in the past month. But for some reason, we've decided to put our left foot where our right foot is and our right foot where our left foot is, and we're just spannering it nowhere.
Mm.
And
Yeah, I was going to ask, so you know how you say that you've been found out now, which happens, like the best
yeah,
teams,
yeah.
eventually they do get found out when they play a certain way. Isn't now the time where this is where the test comes now? Because Klopp and I won't put Klopp in this actually, Pep. Pep has had times where teams have found him out and he
Mm,
changes things. So
yep.
now it's up to Arteta to look at his team. And if he
Yes,
really wants to be the next big manager, this is the time where now something needs to
he's got.
change.
I agree.
And yeah,
Yeah, I
it will be a
wholeheartedly
test. We'll
agree.
see what he does.
Yeah, I completely agree. If he's watching this game right now, he's realizing, right, small, like, don't get me wrong, full respect to West Ham and Fulham, but they're smaller teams compared to us. Obviously, we've got like we're part of the
Wouldn't be
big six.
winning. Yeah, you should be winning, man.
That's what I'm
You
saying. We're
look
we're,
at the
we're part of
last
the big
six.
six. We should be beating these sort of teams. So the smaller teams, he's got to be thinking, right, we're losing to these sort of teams. Why? What's going on? This same tactic or formation that we've been trying for the past year in 2023, it's been fantastic. It's been working, but now teams are realizing and they're studying it. And obviously, when they're coming into these games, they know how to defend against it. So surely we've got to think, right, what do we do now? Let's play somewhere else, or something like that. Let's play. I mean, let's try something different. So then, when teams obviously study us and stuff like that, they'll be like, okay, let's do the same formation, but this time, obviously, we do something different, and it potentially goes in. But obviously, who are we anyway? We're just some random kind of spectators and fans
Mm,
of the team. These guys are technical directors and like managers of the team. They
Mm.
should, you'd think, know what's best for the team, and they must
Well,
analyze it because that's their job. Like,
mm,
I don't know. It's quite worrying
well,
though, because at
tomorrow.
the moment it's kind of looking at these sort of games like right now, and it's quite worrying because when we're off the ball, when Fulham, for example, are attacking us, I'm quite worried myself because, like, unfortunately, we can't defend.
You
To
should
put it
have to
plainly.
sleep. Oh, tomorrow is 1st of January. January window is open. I know we've all said this before. You need a striker, Tony
Yeah,
Osman. What else do you need to improve this team? What other positions do you reckon you
I
could?
think I agree with what Arteta said he wanted. I think he wanted a number nine, a striker, a central midfielder, and a fullback.
Okay,
I
you
think I
think?
think that'll be good. Yeah, because then that central midfielder, as you say, let's say for example you're right, man, and Kai Havertz obviously coming into this team is the reason why everyone's kind of having a downfall. Let's say we test the waters and try out a new midfielder who was a Xhaka and put him in the midfield and see if that solves it. If it doesn't, it's not Havertz's fault. Do you know what I mean? You've got to test the waters. A fullback would be great because Zinchenko is not defensively minded. He's more of a midfielder, as you can see, because when it goes on the defence, everyone can find him out and it's easy to get past him. And Kivior is not a fullback either. He's a centre half. Tomiyasu is
Yeah.
obviously just come back from injury, and Tierney's on loan. Like we're quite
mm.
short, and then Ben White is not necessarily a fullback either. He's just been filled in there. He's doing a good job there. No disrespect to him, but he's not a fullback.
Not a winger, would you say? Not another right winger to give competition for Saka, or if Saka gets injured or anything
Saka,
like
to be
that?
fair, I have faith. As much as people might laugh at me here, I still have faith in Reece Nelson. I think he's a baller. I think if Saka gets injured, he can fill his boots. Not as well, but he's still a good
Yeah,
like
rotation.
backup. Yeah.
I was going to ask, when are you going to start, like, because Arteta's had some time now, he's had a lot of time. When do we start looking at Arteta and saying, well, he's not won the Premier League this year? How many more years without a Prem if you were not to win it this year?
This year. This year.
No, but I don't know. If you don't win it this year, you're hardly going to sack him in the summer. Like,
No,
when.
no, no. I'm not gonna. No, but like you still look at it. You still take it into
Mm,
account. You've been in this control of this team for the 5 years now. I think it is 4 or 5 years.
mm,
And like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I know you guys are going through that transition period when you get a new manager, and it's kind of up and down because they're not used to it at the moment. Arteta's gone through that now. He's gone eighth twice, like in 2 seasons, and now he's had the opportunity to come fifth,
Had that
now
phase, yeah.
second, and then obviously now he's got the chance to obviously he's got the team. Like he's got a fantastic team behind him, and whether or not he completes this, let's say for example as deluded or optimistic as I might seem, yeah, let's say we bought the Premier League, fine. Let's put focus in Champions League. Let's say we don't win the Premier League, and as I say, optimistic and deluded as I seem, we managed to secure that a Champions League.
no, you
I'd
can.
still put
Anyone can win the Champions
no, but
League.
that's
It
what I'm
does,
saying.
yeah.
Consider that a successful season
Yeah, yeah,
because
of
Of
course.
I think the UCL, the Premier League, is the main trophies we've got to try and attempt. If we don't win one, we've got to win the other. I think this
Okay,
season.
next question. What if you don't get UCL football this year? It can happen. There are
That's
a
a
lot
big-
of teams.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah.
there are a
Yeah,
lot of teams, and we've
yeah,
lost
yeah.
the fifth spot thanks to Man United and Newcastle. So
Yeah.
it's 4 teams. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, big problems. I think there'll be a lot of questions asked from both the fan base and the technical directors. They'll be asking what just happened because
Mm,
currently, obviously, I know at the moment we're still losing, but let's say, for example, we still get a draw out of this, we still go second.
yes, I
You know,
mean Spurs are a
like,
point away, and they're fifth
that's what I'm
as
saying.
it
We're
stands.
still second. Like anything can happen. Obviously, I hope it doesn't happen. But serious question: if we don't get top four, serious questions would need to be answered ASAP, and we'd need to kind of consider something to go right. Let's drill some sort of something into this team.
Mm.
Mm.
Lastly, obviously the window's opening tomorrow. It's like the halfway point now. Who do you guys think has been the best signing so far from the summer and been the most
Declan's,
impactful player?
Who?
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, yeah.
Okay, that's
Who's
true.
Rice's
He's good,
competition?
but I think Cole Palmer.
Mm. No,
I
I
think Cole
don't. You know
Palmer.
what? It's not Cole Palmer's fault, but he's in a team that's 10th, and Rice has scored
Rice has
last
been
minute
very
goals. This is the thing.
Rice has been very good.
Rice
He's
has
been
won
worth
Arsenal
every penny.
direct points. Yeah.
Yeah,
Aside from how brilliant he is, he's actually won Arsenal points. So
yeah.
that's the differential for me for why.
Yeah. It's not even
So
me being
Declan
biased. I
Rice.
think he's been
Anyone else
integral to that
maybe
midfield.
from other teams we could bring into
Uh,
Maybe value for money. How much was Palmer?
40 mil, wasn't he?
40,
Yeah,
45?
that's great in this
That's just
market.
a
I mean,
good deal. Yeah,
Anthony's a
100.
100 million pound player, so that's a right winger to
But
Palmer.
it's
So
like Man
that's good.
United tax, isn't it? Any Man
Yeah.
United tax, any player
No,
that's
but
100 mil is
Chelsea
actually
can
like
have
60.
tax. I'm sure Chelsea will have tax because we know they have money now, and they still spent 40, which is really good.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else from other teams? I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head.
Johnny Evans, he's actually not per foot wrong. And we're, by the way, just so you know, as of this moment, we've had a bit of a shuffle of our centre backs. We're keeping Lindelof. We've extended 1 year. Varane is now from tomorrow allowed to talk to other clubs because we're not extending his 1 year. And Ten Hag wants Johnny Evans to stay another year. Centre backs United. Very interesting.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our week.
Yeah.
So obviously we'll catch up for next week when we see what the results are. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.